pushed to
I
distract from
think
the
some
fact
of
that
it's being pushed. He's doing some things on purpose, like
Huh.
eating the slice of pizza in the kitchen. Like, yeah, that's gonna help, you know, theorists out there. I really don't love paying attention to the guy. I did have Matan on, who did a hilarious interview with him, and you know, we talked about that a bunch there. But like, the guy, I think the guy's just a weirdo. I don't think he's Epstein. You know, like, and
It's
that's the thing.
shocking how many people think he is.
Yeah, but well, people are like, you know, if the elites have like this face transplant thing down, I was unaware that's like a thing. But if they do, I don't know. If he got a face transplant, like, if I'm Jeffrey Epstein, I'm asking to be a fucking Asian. I'm not saying like, yo, remove me 5 tints from where I am and make me like a little gayer. Like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm like, make me an Asian. Fuck, make me black. Do something. You know, like, I'm not trying to be like a doppelganger of me. That's just, I don't know. I never went for a face transplant, but that's just.
I mean, I don't know. Have you all seen? There's this guy. I forget his name. He was like a very notorious. Um, I think it was mortgage loan fraud, and he had like changed changed like his face, and he had shown. He did a couple years in jail, and then he came around the time of the Larry Lawton jewel thief guy, and he would do all these tours and say kind of how he got the things to work and whatnot. And so he basically had his face kind of changed so that even if they got him on surveillance, they didn't know who it was, and they couldn't. He even got his fingerprints removed. So what I'm getting at is it's not as difficult as he's making it seem here. Just a couple like different changes within the face. You look like a completely different person. And you don't even have to go the like fake plastic surgery route. I mean, obviously it's going to be like plastic surgery, but you know, not the fake like Barbie look is what I'm saying.
That's how I see it.
All right, so imagine you need financial advice and you ask your buddy who lives with his parents and regularly talks about how he just hit a parlay and has inside info about prediction markets.
All right, let's switch out of the
On that,
ad
you
there.
once on your show had a guest tell a story of how the CIA's disguised chief briefed President Bush, who had known her for years,
John Mendez, yeah.
through a full face mask, and Bush had no idea.
And this is in like 1989, 1990. Yeah.
If you could paint the picture for me, like, if Epstein is alive, how could something like that work? Like the disguise, the passports, the banking system, how could Epstein be walking around right now without anyone knowing it's him?
Well, that's another thing. It's like, does he just walk around with a mask every day? Because if they were that good in 1989, I got news for you. They're pretty fucking great at it now. You know, I do. That's way above my pay grade, as they say. I don't know, but
Like from what Andy said to you from that conversation you had?
Andy didn't talk really about the aftermath other than getting him out of there.
Mm.
The aftermath is the one thing that Andy has a way with words with this stuff that sometimes frustrates you, but you're like, damn. The one thing he said, because that was a weird day we filmed. It was the day the Iran war broke out at the end of
28th.
February.
Yeah.
And so I walk in there like, what the fuck? It was an early shoot. We were filming at like 8 a.m. local time or 7:30. He's like, yeah, man. There's 2 really life-changing days at CIA. The day you figure out how the world the day they tell you how the world really works, and then the day you figure out how you're supposed to act in it with CIA. He said that first day is a really tough day. And he was talking about, the conversation was in the context of like, you know, some of the elite families, the Rockefellers, stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, of course. There's a shadow group of people that have all the influence. You don't even see their money half the time, or all the time. And I do think a lot of people, including myself, have to say that, woke up to that a little more when they released some tranche of the files, of the Epstein files this year, because there's still things you speculate on because it's not proof of this or that, but it's like, well, that doesn't look good. And then there's other things where it's like, no, this is pretty clear. Like, all these people are working, they're all mentioning the Rothschilds, for example, by name, the Rockefellers by name, and it's like, wow, maybe these families have some fucking influence that we don't get to vote on. It's kind of interesting to me. You know, I'm a real populist in that respect. I don't think any of that should happen, and I think pretty much every person out there who's normal would agree with me on that. So
Do you think Epstein was the most powerful man in the world?
no. No,
No,
he was
definitely not.
powerful, but
Definitely
I
not.
actually think Tucker Carlson really nailed it early on.
There's like there's like many families. There's like many like shadowy figure families that have kind of always had influence over the world, even above like the Rothschilds and stuff. So Epstein's kind of like he was kind of like the face. He was like the host, to the island with all the blackmail, of course. But he's definitely not like he definitely doesn't hold majority power. So that's but I mean, he's still alive, I'm sure, and definitely him and like Ghislaine are like on a yacht somewhere. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out because I think on YouTube right now, like it keeps saying horizontal and vertical are live, but I don't think they are. Um, mm, Mobile app, catch it while scrolling. Okay. All right, so I guess we are actually live on there as well. It's just not. I mean, let me see if I chat through here. Bro, this thing, this plugin, the chat merger is probably one of the most frustrating to deal with. It's like every time I want to do, like, I gotta reload this. Bro, it's not, bro, I swear. I swear this plugin sucks. Yo, why does it say that one's in shorts? It's like literally not. All right. Mm,
On when the files came out, where he talked about how this painted a picture of what he called the supra government to him, S-U-P-R-A, and it's perfect. And I actually have a good visual for it too that I thought of that I think helps bring it home. But he's like, the most powerful people that you always thought were the most powerful people, say the heads of state of the largest countries around the world, they're really on the third layer. There's not one layer above them, there's two layers above them. The layer above them is a fixer class of wealthy billionaire types and espionage types like the Epsteins of the world, who make a lot of money, do a lot of shady shit, and tell the lower class of the heads of state and those types of people what to do and manage them, for a number one class of people that you don't see, who have all the money and move all the assets and decide who gets to die. And I think he nailed that. I think Tucker cooked there. And the way I would liken it is Jeffrey Epstein was Mike Ehrmantraut. If you watch Breaking Bad, Mike Ehrmantraut shows up and Walter White thinks he's the most powerful thing because he's the cook and he makes all this shit and he makes it rain and all the money, and he sits there and fucking bitches and moans to Mike Ehrmantraut, who stands there like this for a while, and then eventually when he gets annoyed enough, he bitch slaps the fuck out of Walter White and reminds him who he is, and gets back in his fucking Toyota or whatever the fuck it was he drove, Lincoln Town Car, and drives to the real person who's behind the scenes, who controls everything, which is your Gus Frings of the world. That's the example. You know, you thought, you know, the Trumps, the Bidens, the Obamas, the Bushes were that Gus Fring. They're Walter White. They're bought and paid for. Now, people are like, so they have zero power. I don't agree with that. They do have power. I think it's a balance, like anything. But the idea that those guys could sit in their Oval Office and actually make every decision, they may think they are sometimes, but many things happen outside them by forces that existed before they were born in some cases and are going to exist long after they're dead.
I think a question people often don't ask about Epstein, because it's almost taboo to even question it, is if he was involved in this maybe second layer of people and he was killed or did have these federal charges brought against him in the first place, would you classify this as like he pissed someone off in that group, or would you classify this as theater?
Maybe it's both. Maybe it's both. I think that's a really good, really great question right there. Because Jeffrey Epstein got on his plane and flew from Paris to here. Check me on this. I think Paris is one of the countries we have some issues with extradition on. By the way, it's not like the easiest. So he flew out of a country where he has a place in Paris. He was outside the United States and decided to get on his jet and fly back to Teterboro Airport. Which means he did not think, know, or have any idea that he was getting arrested when he landed. And then he got arrested. That doesn't happen to people like him. That happens to Peasant Avante. That happens to the fucking, that happens to you and me if we do something bad. That don't happen to someone like him. But obviously, something did happen there. The strange part is, I know he got careless with some things in his career for sure. His fucking existence. But the idea, and I guess we don't know yet if he did or didn't, but you would think by this point you'd know. The idea that he didn't have a really fucking good dead man switch is something I think about a lot. It's like, that doesn't really add up to me. This is a guy who, if we were sitting in his house right now in fucking...
This is what I was talking about right here, saying that he doesn't have a dead man switch. Like, that's preposterous. He absolutely has one. I mean, this is not even up for, like, debate. Let me try to see.
$19.99 or something, the fucking pen on the table has a camera in it. I mean, the blades of this carpet have cameras in it. You telling me he don't have compromat on fucking a lot of people? I don't buy that. And so it's a great question. I don't have an answer for you. It could be that mix of both. I don't know. One possibility is that it's all theater, and in that possibility, yes, he's alive. That's the only way that makes sense.
When you think about the first, second, third order effects of the story, the theater, what might it be? Just want to stress test that a bit. I haven't thought about this.
Here's how I think of Epstein. You seen those videos on social media where it's like you see the side of an embankment and it's close up. It's one of those satisfying videos, right? And there's like a long weed right there or something stuck in the side, and someone's like pulling on it, yanking it, and you're like, why? Fuck, it's 2 a.m. Why am I watching this? All right, hold on, let's put it on 2.0 speed. They're pulling, they're trying to go, and the more they pull, you see a little trickle of water coming out. And I think it's a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger. And then suddenly, boom, they pull it, and it goes, and the water goes everywhere like a dam just broke. I think Jeffrey Epstein's that weed. I don't think he's the water. I think he's that weed. I think he's just the first one that we can really have a grip of some of the sadistic shit that he was involved in, that he got other people involved in, that is a real underbelly of society in this country and around the world, to where if you pull more and more and more and more and more, maybe you actually figure out the whole game. Cynically, I don't think we'll ever figure out the whole game.
Right. Because the game would be over, or it'd be different.
Be over, yeah. But I will say this. You know, I'm an optimist. I love living in this country for all its flaws. I think it's an amazing place. This is beautiful.
All right, guys, I got a special guest about to pull up. We're probably about to hop on stream too. It'll make it a bit more entertaining. But yeah, I was trying to figure out the YouTube Shorts thing, man. I don't think we were live on Shorts at all. So I'm gonna try to figure that out before I get back on. But anyway, I'll catch y'all in a couple minutes.